for more insight into what goes into Oktoberfest marketing, both in the United States and abroad, let's bring in Jack Bobo. He is the director of Food Systems Institute at the University of Nottingham. Great to have you on our program. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, Sean.
Okay, so it sounds like a silly question, but really, what makes Oktoberfest stand out compared to other folk festivals?
Well, I think there are a few things. I mean, one is, it's really about scale and tradition. We just heard that, the number of people, millions of people, it's about 6 million people a year, go to Munich in order to experience this firsthand. I have to tell you, that was taking me back 30 years for the first time I experienced Oktoberfest firsthand. And so, but it's also that tradition. And so it's, there are a lot of people from around the world that have cultural ties. And so this is just an opportunity to celebrate tradition and to celebrate each other.
Yeah, and it's really impressive watching those waitresses carry those giant steins, like 7 in each hand. They're really amazing. So what's driving Oktoberfest cult following? And not just here in the United States, but really the world over.
Yeah, so I think, it goes back over the last 200 years. You have a German diaspora, people that had immigrated to really all parts of the world, and they brought their traditions with them. And one of those traditions was Oktoberfest that dates back to 1810. And because of that, you've got this really strong community feel that it was, sort of built from the ground up. But the second, and I think perhaps the most important thing, is that it's a tradition that focuses on beer. And, that's just a great combination. When you can take tradition, you can put it to beer, you get things like, St. Patrick's Day as well. And then the third, I would say, is that then it's connected not just to tradition and to beer, but to pop culture today. And so I think they've made a really good effort to tie those things together. So it's not just about things from the past, but it has a lot of cultural relevance today as well.
Let's pick up on that pop culture, because you can't just slap Oktoberfest on a beer and make it stand out in the market. What does it take, especially here in the United States, to interest people to say, I'm going to try this because it looks like it really has the feel, the smell, the senses, everything that does make Oktoberfest what it is in Munich?
Yeah, I think you just hit on some of those. That an Oktoberfest beer stands out because of distinctive flavor profiles, and because it has a cultural connection. And then I think the third would be sort of that seasonal appeal. I think many people don't know exactly why they recognize an Oktoberfest beer, but it's that traditional Marzen style that was developed in Germany. And it's beers that have been lagered, since March if you're in Germany, but over weeks or months here in the United States, where it has a smoother, rounder flavor finish to it. It's a little bit less hoppy than some other beers, and so it goes down very well. So I think there's that flavor profile of it that really makes it work for a lot of different people.
Okay, now from the beer halls of Munich to the boardrooms in New York on Madison Avenue. We know that people are trying to do what they can, beer companies, to boost sales, because beer sales have suffered somewhat in recent years. So why does Sam Adams Oktoberfest themed beer seem to be more popular sales-wise here in the United States compared to true Oktoberfest beer brands from Munich? Is it cost, the familiarity? What is it?
Yeah, so, cost is definitely a factor. Those beers are more expensive, but I think there's also just limited access to many of these traditional beers. I mean, you just can't go into every bar in the United States or every grocery store and be able to purchase them. So I think access to them, when you can access them, they tend to be more expensive. So when it comes to something like a Sam Adams Oktoberfest, they have wide-scale distribution. They have that availability. But also, I think that companies like Sam Adams or the Boston Beer Company were some of the first to really invent the idea of seasonality in beers. And so a lot of this is marketing and branding that connected to that culture and really created the phenomenon in the United States that you don't quite see everywhere.
Yeah. Jack, you can't see the pictures, I don't think, but, we were seeing people pounding down those beers. You can smell the sausage, the hops, and the barley in those areas. So how does Oktober beer culture in the United States compare to that in other countries? Because I know a lot of other countries drink a lot more beer.
Yeah, so I think there are a few ways here as well. So, the United States, we tend to like to do things bigger than a lot of different places. And so I think in other parts of the world, particularly in Europe, it's much more focused on the tradition and the culture and the smaller scale community of a folk festival.
Okay.
Whereas here in the United States, it is connected to some of that pop culture, connected to events and big events. And so because of that, it's taken on a much bigger scale. So it's not, something you do just in your local community, but it's connected through social media to more of a cultural phenomena than, just a regional experience.